Hey guys, today we're going to take a look at the Kinetic from Mark Pickleball. It's a hybrid thermoform paddle that utilizes a dynamic Kevlar blend surface, so it uses a combination of both Kevlar and carbon fiber. For the dimensions, this is a hybrid paddle, so it does have a curved top and a length of 16.25 inches. This is just a tad bit shorter than some of the other hybrid paddles, which are usually around 16.3, but the width is actually 7.75 rather than the more common 7.5 inches. It's not like the 6-0 paddles, which start wider at the top two corners and then taper down to a thinner width, but the Kinetic actually remains 7.75 inches all the way throughout. For the rest of the dimensions, the core is 16mm and the handle length is 5.3 inches. The swing weight of mine came in at 116, while the twist weight was 6.55. The swing weight seemed consistent with other hybrid paddles I've tried, so there's nothing interesting to note there. As for the twist weight, it was comparable to the other hybrid paddles that do have tapers in the corner, like the 6-0 paddles, Bread and Butter Loco, and the Sword and Shield J2, which are on the higher end for hybrid paddles. For the construction, the Kinetic is thermoformed, so similar to other Gen 2 paddles, it's encased in carbon fiber and heated in a hot mold when it's made. This results in a stiffer and more powerful paddle than other ones that are created without heat. However, the one defining characteristic of the Kinetic over other Gen 2 paddles is its use of both Kevlar and carbon fiber in the surface. Now, we have covered other Kevlar paddles on this channel already, like the Pickleball Apes Proline Energy S, which also utilizes a Kevlar and carbon fiber blend in the surface and comes in a similar shape. In my experience using aramid fiber paddles, they've made the surface feel a bit softer and more plush compared to paddles that only use carbon fiber. As a reference, the Proline Energy S to me felt like one of the softest feeling thermoform paddles on the market, where many of the other carbon fiber thermos felt stiffer in comparison. Before hitting the Kinetic, my guess was that it was pretty much going to play like the Proline Energy S, but with a lower swing weight, a bit less reach, and more control because of its shorter length compared to it. However, I was completely wrong about the feel and power of the paddle. The Kinetic is actually on the stiffer end for thermoform paddles. I would place its stiffness under the Vatic Pro Flash and 6-0 Black Diamond Power, but above paddles like the Volair Mach 1 Forza and the Bread and Butter Loco. The Power 2 also surprised me and was on the higher end for a Gen 2 hybrid paddle. As for the spin, I didn't notice the surface doing anything special. The Kinetic provides high amounts of spin that's comparable to other Gen 2 carbon fiber paddles. Overall, I would describe the Kinetic as a more powerful and poppy 6-0 double Black Diamond. So if you were looking to add a bit more power and pop to your game, but want to keep the hybrid paddle shape rather than switch to an elongated paddle, I think the Kinetic is a very good choice. Now, many people, including me, have talked about the 11624 Hirachi X as basically a juiced up version of the double Black Diamond, so I did want to compare the Kinetic to it as well. I think compared to the Hirachi X, the Kinetic is just below it in terms of power and pop. The Hirachi X does have a longer handle which allows for stronger baseline drives and reach, but the Kinetic on the other hand has a lower swing weight and higher twist weight, so it's a bit more stable with a wider sweet spot and quicker to swing. The Kinetic is a paddle that if you told me was actually just carbon fiber and not a Kevlar blend surface, I would have believed you, because from hitting this paddle, I don't think there's anything about it that makes me think it does have Kevlar in it. So personally, I don't think the Kevlar blend really does anything different with this paddle, but it's still a very solid paddle overall if you were looking for a bit more power and pop in a hybrid paddle. It's a paddle I recommend if you do want something in between the Black Diamond and double Black Diamond, but want to retain a similar swing weight and twist weight. If you do want to pick one up, I've added a link in the video description below, as well as my discount code you can use at checkout with your order.